back with another Race Department podcast. It is podcast 9, and we are not at any track this week. We'll be heading for our break soon, but we are bringing you coverage of the Valencia Grand Prix. Alongside me, we have the usual suspects, Jonathan Seeks.
Hello, I'm going to say a bit more this time, as you always have a go at me, but hello, and welcome.
Yes, welcome. Then we have a returning person who's slick as oil. It's Oli Peacock.
Hello guys, good to be here again.
And we have a newcomer. We have the uber sexy and slightly cockney Paul Glover, or Love Pup.
Alright guys, how are we doing?
we're all good. Yeah, good. Great to hear you. I mean, it's Valencia, the European Grand Prix. I mean, not many of us sort of like this track, I don't think. But Paul, you're new to the race department. So go on, give us your opinion of the season so far and why you joined, and just give us a bit of background.
Well, Sunday nights tend to be a little bit boring, and I was looking for something to do. I bought myself. I've always wanted a decent setup, for racing with, and I've always been a big fan, of Formula One games, going back to Grand Prix 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and I've had IndyCar Papyrus when I was younger, so. I've always been a bit of a fan, and I thought it would be good to. My brother does online leagues with FIFA, so I thought, why can't I do the same with F1? And then I kind of just sort of went, I want to sign up. Didn't really know what to expect, but it's been good fun.
What you expected? Good.
Yeah, I mean it's clean racing and whatnot. I mean, obviously you can understand incidents happen. We're all human. But yeah, it's been really good fun and a good bunch of people, and it's very well organised. So which is good.
Ooh, plus points for me then, an organisation. That's lovely. At least you don't get the little twatty kids on FIFA here, which is quite good. Well.
Oh yeah, well you say that. But
So Oli, you're pulling away from the season again. How do you think you're going? Is it too hard?
We're hitting a purple patch for me in the season. I traditionally go quite well in the European races. The Tilcadromes in the back end of the season aren't so good, so I'm just hoping to build up a good lead in the championship now. But you say that I've been pulling away and stuff. You have to look from Canada. Obviously, I made that mistake and came fourth. Including that and Valencia, my gap hasn't actually increased that much. Granted, fourth is not a bad result, but it's just to show one bad result and a lot can change.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Let's just look into the qualifying of Formula One now, shall we? Who would like the honours this week to go through the qualifying positions? Any takers? Oh, it's dead silence. Oli, you can take us through the qualifying results for F1.
Okay, so taking pole position for his second race, returning double world champion, Dan Hull, Aerodane, took pole position on a 1:46 on a wet track at Valencia, something which not happen in real life, but this is virtual and it's Codemasters, so bullshit can happen. Second place was Adam in the Toro Rosso, so solid, followed by Indrek third, Mark, good performance fourth, followed by the Holy Sam, Gunnar Gamble, Darren, who won in Canada, Kex, Eric, who had a bit of a mare in the wet, and Red Tabor Bojan, who did not bother to qualify.
I mean, from that, they don't seem to have many full grids. It's usually just 10 cars. Is that just me, or is it a recurring thing for F1 so far? They've never had a full grid when suddenly GP2 is starting to pick itself up a bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I have to agree on that.
Yeah, they've had a few dropouts, so they're just trying to get people to fill in, I think, at the moment.
I mean, GP2 seems slightly more popular at the minute. I just don't know why, because we get the amount of people coming in to ask me if they can come in, or you, Oli, as well, to come in.
Yeah.
Paul, you were one of the people which asked, weren't you, to come in?
Yeah.
And I think I think this podcast obviously helps, and just the media presence of Race Department is actually quite big, which is why I think we're drawing in a lot of people at the moment.
Definitely, but let's go back to the issue at hand. Qualifying, I mean, Aerodan, 2 times world champion is expected, so solid. He's carrying on his fantastic form so far this year. I mean, the shock is maybe Eric, Beza, and Holy Sam pipping it into 5th, I think.
I wouldn't say
Mark in 4th. I think that was a great performance. That qualifying you know, again, 6/10 of the grid. You know, that's no bad performance considering that this is F1. You know,
and the wet as well. But
yeah, I wouldn't say Darren's was a unexpected one because his qualifying's been pretty poor this year, but his race pace has really helped him.
Yeah, he's been a very, very strong racer. But like Jenson Button, actually.
Yeah, well, considering the strong races, if we look at the race result, your theory has been backed up exponentially. Paul, would you like to take us through the race results for F1?
Yeah. I don't really know everyone's names. I can only do their usernames, unfortunately. But Arrow Dan. I mean, he's at 1:39 there on the best. That's a fast lap time round Valencia. Was it a dry race by the looks of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quick. And then Beza 695 in the coming in second and starting from 7th place in the grid, so he gained a few places there. And then Gunnar Gamble as well, starting 6th, finished 3rd. I mean, that's some good gains. Fast at 145, and Beza on a 140 as well. So look like they're possibly quite the same kind of pace there. And then Tadja started 4th, finished 4th, so that's a solid result. And then Eric started 9th and finished 5th. Again, you know, he's gone up through the grid there, and he's getting a positive finish. And then Red Tabur, is that it? Is that how you pronounce that? Yeah, Red Tabur started 10th, finished 6th. And then Kex. Again, I mean, he's gained one position there, but I mean, it's still a positive. But then the loser out there is Indrickson, you know, starting 3rd. Maybe an incident occurred during the race, I'm sure we'll find out, and finishes 8th. And there's Sam, again, started 5th, finished 9th, and maybe they had a bit of a coming together with So Solid as well. He started 2nd and finished 10th. So, was there an incident during the race, do we know?
We'll find out if we got it in the clips.
I think they were separate. But
I see they've got DNS there, so
yeah, the only clips we have are from Eric. I mean, Dan posted, but I couldn't download it for some reason. And I'm not sure about. I didn't see Indrex when I looked.
Oh well.
But anyway, Gunnar Gamble, absolute great result for him.
Oh yeah.
Do you reckon this could have kick-started his season? I mean, it's his best result in F1, I think.
Yeah, a complete spirit raiser for him. He had a couple of dodgy races in Monaco, coming to mind where it was not a good performance for him. But you know, that's a really, really good result for Gunnar Gamble. You know, that's 3rd place coming up from 6th. Yeah, that's gonna really kickstart his season. Hopefully, lead on to bigger and better things heading into the next half.
I mean, last season in F1 2011, it was me versus him part of the way through the season, and he's a good driver. You know, he can turn it on. He got quite a few unexpected pole positions as well. He seems to somehow pull qualifying out of the bag sometimes as well, which helps.
Yeah.
But if we go on to the onboard of Eric's start, shall we, gentlemen? And Ollie, since you're the F1 expert, 'cause you used to race, take us through the start.
F1 expert. Okay, so starting 9th position, got a couple of stallers on the grid for a bit of lag. Coming up the inside of Holy Sam now, having to get out of throttle because Darren takes the inside line for turn 1. Braking to turn 2, I think that's Adam going wide. And Eric ends up tagging the mark around, and then catches the barrier for good measure on the exit there. Then we see Darren going wide. Might want to capitalise on that mistake, but he's on the prime tyre, so this is actually a really good start. Good up from the into the mark. That's be useful for the primes. And then we see Darren going straight on at the head, and he's hitting the barrier. Very, very lucky boy there to have finished 2nd. Considering that could have been a lot worse.
Here comes a feature of this season, though, the rain. The rain and Eric's pit stop. Has he got the pit stop right? I mean, he's probably damaged his wing slightly somewhere around the lap. We didn't really see. But for once, his pit crew actually putting the right tyres on.
Yeah,
what is this foolery?
Yes, it's an illusion. But, in a tip and earth fence, Eric, what are you doing out on options when it comes to rain? Well,
that is quite a lot further into the race, to be fair.
Yeah.
I know.
Very good.
A bit of lapse of concentration there, I think, because he nearly goes back round for a second spin.
But here you go.
So this is him versus Gunnar Gamble.
Yeah.
Slightly drier track, and oh, look at that! Gunner's on the prime tyre there. So
See, but man,
it's exactly a lap later. So what I presume is that he jumped the gun a bit early.
yeah. See,
So-
took 2 laps a bit later, and he's back onto the slicks.
That's easily a wasted at least maybe 40, 50 seconds there. That's a potential championship podium that he's lost, maybe, in that debacle.
Definitely. Right, here we go. Championship standings. I mean, F1 guys, we make an appeal to you. Let's get as much footage up online as possible.
And if you can edit your clips, please do, because it makes it much easier. It saves a lot of time as well.
Yeah. Okay, if we look at the championship standings, I mean, not much has really changed from Canada.
No.
But what sticks out? I mean, what recurring theme is there? And since we're near the halfway point,
Darren has picked up considerable pace or luck since Monaco. Well, since Canada, really. Look, he's consistently racking around in 4th and 5th places, the first 4 flyaways. Then come Spain, 10th again. That's kind of an average position compared to the previous 4. Monaco, 8th, and then out of nowhere, Montreal wins the race. Valencia, 2nd, and with Dimi unlikely to return at least for another month or whatever. I see Darren being a somewhat, it's not fortunate, but definitely a good opportunistic manoeuvre to get looking at the championship favourite.
If you remember back to the Monaco podcast when Darren was actually the guest on the show, he said, I doubt I'll be a title challenger, but yeah, if he gets a podium in Silverstone, it will actually be top in the championship, so things are really turned around for him.
I mean, it's sort of opened
Really
the championship
close up
a bit more. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, you got Bojan there, Adam there.
Yeah, Adam. I mean, he's not out of the picture, is he? I mean, on 97 points there. I mean, he's closely behind Bojan.
Yeah, it's a regular, quite often on the podium.
Yeah, if you draw your eyes down to 9th place, Dan Hall.
Yeah.
If that 43 points, that's 43 out of 50 in his 2 races back. And when you look at the results of drivers, I think they're quite actually inconsistent. Because when you think that Dan's missed out, I think that's like 7 or 6 races there, but he's only 60 odd points behind Darren. If Darren doesn't pick up his pace or Dan resumes what will likely be a form of domination again, if I was Darren, Bojan or Adam, I'd be seriously looking over my shoulder a lot. Races.
So basically, Dimi's not racing for the last 3 races has sort of opened the championship up dramatically.
Yes.
Really, in that respect. I mean, if we look at the constructors, Toro Rosso, a good win and a win and a win and a 3rd place ahead. Maths is right.
God knows.
Aaron, the teacher, yes.
I'm not in teaching mode. Right. There's not really much else to say. I mean, hopefully in Silverstone and the mid-season review, we'll go back over everything and we'll say some more good things. But if we move on to GP2 now, Paul, since you're the special guest, you want to tell us the qualifying for GP2 and tell us about your qualifying experience.
I'm not okay. So I'm not a fan of Valencia personally. I'm not a fan of Monaco, Valencia. So street circuits aren't my thing. But I mean, you can tell there immediately. I think I was way down the grid. I mean, you can't even see me there. So I was down. But Oli Peacock, I mean, he's just something else. I mean, I'm often 2-3 seconds off his qualifying pace, and then TH coming in a strong second there. his teammate, and then NNC and McLaren qualifying. I mean, a respectable 139 really, and Samantas again on the 139s, and then from Jaw it sort of hits the 140s, qualified in 5th in the McLaren. Then there is in the Lotus again a 140 in 6th. Zarka in 7th in the Ferrari again a 140. I mean, you know, these guys. I mean, those guys are close there in terms of pace, and I'm sure they would have had a close race. 8th. I mean, I don't know how you pronounce that really.
Jay Jones.
Just call him
Jay Jones.
Just call him Jay.
That Jay Jones. I got to get all these TSS and names together, but you know, and he's kind of in the latter, the one, you know, the early 141s, and then yourself, Techno, eh?
Yeah.
9th, the 143. Was it a bad quali or?
It was. It's just a bad quality. I mean, just, you know, you're on one and you like lose the back end or something. It was just one of those days. It was the same last year. Just qualifying doesn't work for me well here. Race, I can just do it, but qualifying, I can't.
I remember why I was bad at qualifying, because I missed qualifying.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
that would explain why I was so bad.
If you look at Andrew Holmes, 20 seconds off the pole, so you must have had an absolute shocker or not done it at all.
What happened to Andrew? Did he?
I think
penalty,
he
didn't he?
No, I don't think he hooked up a lap. Like, I think he probably done like one lap, made a mistake, and then couldn't get another one in.
Yeah, he hit traffic, I think he said. But what I like to point out qualifying is that the first 5 of the grid are really actually underdogs. You know, I like to point out, you know, Jaw, he's relatively the championship, great performance, 5th.
Are you calling yourself an underdog?
4th, out qualifying his experienced teammate, experience for GP2, teammate Ben Alesi. Joe, you know, that's another great performance in 3rd, and then Thomas Helmu, who, you know, lit up the field in Montreal for qualifying, again 3rd, backing up in the 2nd. So I'd say, you know, there's a lot of surprises in that grid, mainly because maybe Andrew and yourself, Aaron, didn't really get the.
I didn't even make quali. I mean, I don't really know what I could have done, to be honest.
I think Paul, you would have been like around with us, really, Jay.
Yeah, I would have been. I would. That's what I would suspect. And unfortunately, when you miss qualifying, that's it. You've got the middle of the road set up. You can't even go in and change it. So, you know, when I started the race, I just had, you know, I couldn't do anything. Even though, you know, there was, you know, chance of rain, I couldn't really do anything other than put a bit more front wing on, and that was it. And that was me locked down. Jonathan Seeks there, in 10th.
Yeah, I going down to the chicane after the long straight. I went straight on, and that was part of my best lap. So.
And Carl in 11th with a 145. So he's 2 seconds behind you, though, Jonathan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what happened, if he had a problem or not.
That's a big difference. Considering you, as you say, you went straight, and then Andrew, yeah, something went quite considerably wrong there.
Well, let's look at the permutations, shall we, and see what happened. Were my predictions right from the last podcast?
Funnily enough, they are. Yeah.
Right. Okay. But Paul, even though that is, you know, a standard setup, that is quite an achievement getting to 9th position, my friend. That's very good. Yeah.
I mean, I had as you'll see in the highlights package, I had a bit of a bad start. It tends to be an occurring theme to having bad starts at the moment. I get caught by someone, or it's just my own stupidity, which is generally more the latter. And then where I gain the time is people got their tyres wrong, and I just sort of judged it right and was able to take a few places in the changing conditions, and that's where I was managed to get 9th. So yeah, very, very fortunate on that part, and it was challenging, and I walked away really pleased with that 9th position.
It's an interesting track to drive in those changing conditions. I mean, it was quite hard to judge what tyres to go on, because the track, it didn't dry out too quick. It didn't dry, you know, even if it looked dry, it was still damp in certain sections, especially the bridge as well. But I mean, what we can see, I mean, Ollie, if you want to take through the race results properly, I mean, what we can see is that the people who qualified quite well were really taken out by the bad changing conditions.
Oh yeah. Well, myself, I won the race. Best lap of a 1:39.3, which was fractionally faster than Dan in F1.
I had to text Smugness.
You had to get that in, didn't you? Had to get that bit in.
In second was Andrew with a fantastic recovery drive from 11th on the grid, but unfortunately cropped up a penalty. But Jay, racking up against his third podium in a row now, doing really well for Toro Rosso. And Andrew was pretty spared by the fact that Jay got a penalty as well. In fourth, yourself, Baron, that must have been a pretty good drive from ninth to fourth.
It felt good. I could have got second if Andrew didn't hit me off the track.
Fifth was Ben, and I think he had a issue at the start with another drive. I think we'll see that in a minute.
Yeah.
Joe, and this is where we get into probably a bit more what could have been section of the grid. Joe sixth, off a really good qualifying, third. Maybe got caught by the weather. Jort, his teammate, seventh, qualified fifth. He's dropping 2 places. But I think, again, this is the qualifying, was really a case of what could have been had they made a good race. But then, Jonathan, who probably drove the race of his life at 8th.
What? if you look at the times, I'm actually the 4th quickest bloke in that race.
He is actually, yeah. Hell yeah.
And with what, like about 24 hours to practice?
Nah, Jay, mate, your pace like that must be caught up by the weather. Paul, already covered that, but a really good drive for 9th on a default setup. And then probably the 2 surprises are qualifying, Zamantas and Thomas in 10th and 11th, who sandwiched Zaka, who also DNF'd in 11th. So yeah, quite a topsy-turvy race.
It was a good race though. I mean, ever since we've got like the 4 grid in GP2, the races have been fantastic and they've not been messy at all.
Oh no, we've been on our best behaviour.
They've all been good boys, and otherwise you get detention.
Yeah.
Alright, here we go. Let's look at the actual onboard footage here. Ollie, you can shut up. We'll dissect what we see. You do a bit of a Vettel chop at the start, TH by the looks of it. But you seem to get really good starts and pull away.
Yeah. I think something you'll notice is that, no offense to you, Aaron, as you're the host, but those who are hosts generally get a better start, and those who are closer to the host geographically will get a better start because there's a better ping connection between the two. And obviously Thomas is further away from you than I am, which is why I think some of the British guys get better starts than the
Hang on, here we go.
You were going to say foreigners.
Start.
Yeah, there's been a race in the world.
I sort of took it easy, really. I didn't really know what was going to happen in the first corner because I'm at the back of the grid, so I just sort of gently eased myself in. I got clipped there by Andrew, but I don't really think that was his fault. I think he got clipped on the left as well. And just tried to, and I went a bit wide there. I was struggling to get the power down, but as I say, I just wanted a clean getaway. That was really what I was after, because that could ruin my race, and it has happened in the past. And then Samantha goes wide there, which sort of lets me just before the bridge. So yeah, it's good start.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Six's lovely onboard grainy footage now. He pulls away from the start, and he's got me on his right. I think we've got Jay in front, who's trying to defend from both of us because we're both trying to have a look.
Yeah.
Just,
well, I kind of. Originally, I thought I hit your back wheel, which made me spin, but it actually turned out to be Andrew Holmes who hit me round, and that's where he got his penalty. Thankfully for him, it didn't affect his race.
I mean, Carl just spinning there, but I mean, here we go into the pits again. Did you come in at the right time for tyres?
I think almost everyone came in on lap 6. You see, I come in for wets on lap 7 after a lap of enters. Paul, you come in a lap later.
How was it down at Marussia for the weekend glove? Did they treat you well? Or?
Well, I think I came out of the pits and literally put it straight into the wall as well, which wasn't smart. But as you'll see, I mean, I made a change there. I mean, to minutes, and I think that's where I don't know if you got the clips in, but I was overtaking people that were on primes and options, like canter.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, because people got it completely, absolutely wrong. And it's very hard. It's just my luck was on my side.
Yeah, you see, pitting for options. I picked quite a few.
And I can't wing. They clicked it at one point. So.
I picked quite a bit earlier than everyone else because I was racing short. So I thought I'd take the risk and try and undercut him.
Well, here we go. Here's the battle with Jort. I mean, Andrew hits Jort. Jort there. He didn't give. Ooh.
I think it was a bit aggressive by Jort there. But,
yeah.
I just slip in between two McLarens and.
You really have to go up this bit of the track here. Ooh, across the bridge. That's dangerous. That is.
Round the outside.
You lock it up.
This is just when it starts raining. I actually go straight on, but I actually think Jort followed me round. Because I went off in P6, I think, and I come back on the track at P6 despite going down to P8 at one point, going round that bit. So I think he must have followed me.
I mean, how are you keeping the car on the track when it's like intense conditions and you got wets on and you're racing in the pits, man?
Yeah. I'm just that skilled a driver, you know.
Ooh, you're using the back end of the bridge. I mean, you had quite a nice little fight, really.
Yeah, it's pretty much all no contact for the whole battle apart from that first.
I was in ninth that part as well. Yeah, I was in ninth then.
Yeah, this bit was the bit that ruined my race, and the Pratt decided to do this. They should be shot. I mean, who puts an extra layer of tyres just there? I mean, what's the point?
I know.
And that basically ruined my race.
But let's dissect the championship standings now. I mean, it's got tasty. It is starting to get tasty up the top.
Yeah, Ben's closing in.
But Ben's claiming on Andrew. Oli, you're running away with it. God damn it. There's not really much we can say about the top. But if you look at the fight for 4th, 5th, 6th, it's there.
Mind you, Adam Moss hasn't turned up to the last few races.
No. Hope he doesn't turn up to another one. It'd be nice. Where's Paul? Where are you, Paul?
I'm currently 10th. Yeah, I'm kind of in a battle with Thomas and Thomas. So I'm in a Thomas sandwich. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, you know. I think what my issue is, and I've touched on it, is a lack of consistency. You know, making silly little mistakes. I'm quick, reasonably. You know, I'm not as quick as Oli standards or Andrews, but I would expect to see myself around like the 5th or 6th. I want to be competing with Jay and Joe up there. You know, that's where I expect to see myself, and I'm sure with time I'll get there as I get more practice with the game.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, crucially, it isn't like Jay and Joe. You know, they're good drivers, they're quick drivers. Also, crucially, something you want for league, they're very, very clean, and they'll give you tons of racing room, which is something that I guess any driver would want to, aspire to be if you're looking at joining league racing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, you want other people to be able to trust you, not to cut them up, and that's what makes clean racing really. Like, if you can trust the other driver not to do anything unexpected, you know that you know that you can go for a gap that maybe you couldn't with someone else.
Yeah, I mean, starting is sometimes unavoidable due to lag, which I've seen before. That's just one of those things. But like you say, if someone coming down your inside, I mean, I'd rather let them pass rather than cause an incident, because you'll lose out even more if you've got other cars right behind you. So it's trying to sort of find out which works best and working out where the odds are, you know, and what's in your favour.
I mean, John, you could, if you get a decent result in Silverstone, you could be right back in the midfield.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously we'll have to preview predictions in a minute, but I'm hoping for a top 5 finish.
So speaking of previewing predictions, we're going to move on to Silverstone. Shall we do the track guide first, guys, or shall we do the predictions first? How shall we do this? Track guide?
Yeah.
Track guide. Right, okay, so over to Mr. Paul Glover for Silverstone. How well do you know Silverstone and the corners?
not that well. I knew it a lot better. I don't like the new part of it, to be honest. But coming down the home straight, I struggle with the first little sort of right-hander here. I can sometimes go. It's quite hard to judge sometimes. Go a little bit wide on the left, and then sort of we want to make sure you hug over that. But it's an important braking point here because you can often go wide because this is quite a slow section. And if you go off to the right there, you're hitting marbles sort of halfway through the race. So you want to make sure you stake to the racing line. It's very important. This is the DRS zone, this back straight. It's a very quick straight. But the problem is that I can often find when I'm practicing is I miss the braking point here. The DRS is open. And then making sure, and then this is one of those corners where you're like, come on, hurry up. And then this is the old start-finish straight. I've watched the Silverstone Grand Prix here. Absolutely brilliant part of the circuit. And I find sometimes I brake a little bit too easy up the hill here, and into I love these sweeping corners. First to the left, then to the right. You can take those at quite some speed. You want to make sure you hit your braking point here, and then sort of in that section, make sure you brake to get the straightest line out of the section. Because if someone's behind you, they're going to get you down this straight and into the right hander at the bottom. And we're sort of coming to the back part of the circuit now. Again, this is quite a long corner, but if you want to make sure you sort of keep it steady and then hit the braking point right here, and sort of clip the curb slightly, and then over to the right again, clip it, move over to the left, and then cut as much as this as you can without hitting too much curb. Otherwise, you're pushing the car out to the left.
That was very nicely done. Round of applause,
Thank
please.
you very much.
So, I mean, Silverstone, do you everyone love the track, or is it what a classic everyone looks forward to racing on? I mean, I love racing there, it's just that I'm not good at it.
I love the old Silverstone more than the new Silverstone.
The old bridge complex and stuff?
Yeah, I used to love that. The sort of last section, I know it was slow, but I was quick at it, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's taken me a bit. I think because I'm so used to driving the old circuit, it took me a while getting used to the new one. My brain was like, that's not supposed to be there. But it's okay. It's not as fun as it used to be, in my opinion. But I understand why they've done it, because you've got more overtaking now.
Yeah.
I watched MotoGP there the first time the straight was used, and it was conducive to overtaking, and that's what they're ideally trying to do. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of overtaking during the race there.
Definitely. Ollie, your opinion?
I have to agree with you there. Well, I don't know, but obviously I'm a wheel user, and I find that those corners, the faster corners, especially sector 1 here, it's just another world. Like first corner, if you get it right, it's the same feeling as getting, I don't know, a Rouge right, or
yes.
But those really, challenging corners that if you get it right, you just think, yeah, I could go into a good lap here. And obviously, going up the hill, turn 2, it's the most gradient change actually. And if you look at all the new circuits, they're pretty flat to be honest. Maybe apart from India, up at turn 3, but that's about it. So I like that, and also as you mentioned, going down the Wellington Straight, coming out of the arena complex, offers a very good overtaking opportunity. But I think crucially at this track, because of the long straights, because of the corners that don't actually have a lot of braking zones, we'll see a lot of close racing here because the drivers in slipstreams trying to go side by side. Because there's not a lot of braking zones here, you can take lots of different lines, and that leads to getting the cut back and then having another go at the next corner.
Yeah,
which is something
definitely
I think is just one of the best traits about Silverstone. As long with its lots of fast corners, and putting a smile on your face.
I mean, just every time you go into Maggots and Beckett's and you hook it up perfectly and you're just dropping the gears down to get it into third or fourth, just to tuck it into the last bit before the Wellington Straight, it always puts a smile on your face if you get it right and you don't muck it up and go in the grass. Because I don't know if you feel it, but when I do that part of the track, it feels like I'm actually driving, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm actually there. You get that sort of
realistic.
I mean, I drive with a controller, but it feels like I'm just like, oh, come on! If that makes sense. I can't really explain it.
I think whether you want a controller or whether you're using a steering wheel, I think you still get a sense of achievement if and it looks visually quicker and smooth. You know, I mean, in some cases like Hockenheim, if we talk about circuits like that, I think I was quicker using the controller than I am using the wheel. But with Silverstone, I would say I'm actually quicker with a wheel than I am with a controller. Don't know why. Can't really put my finger on it, but it's, you know, the way the cookie crumbles, I suppose.
I think what you'll find for Silverstone is that the wheel users, they'll probably be a bit quicker than they would be otherwise with a controller, because there's a lot of quick corners that lead one onto another. A good example of that would obviously be Maggots, Beckett's, and Jack. And basically on a controller, I'm sure you know this as well, Aaron. When you flick left or right, there's like it turns, but you can't flick it, if you know what I mean. Like the wheel just won't instantly turn on the game. With a wheel, you know, you can, you know, go from point to point in, you know, 0.2 of a second, which means for the faster corners you can have more control, take a bit more speed. You know, it's going to be more precise, which is why I think, you know, you know, despite Codemasters saying that, you know, we will make the game that, you know, there'll be a better disparity between the two. Silverstone will probably exaggerate that gap.
Yeah, I think with like the controller for like Maggots, Beckett's, and you have to kind of react in advance. Like you have to kind of turn in before you get past one corner, so you get the next one right.
Yeah.
A bit like riding a bike, I think. You have to sort of make the move a little bit earlier.
Definitely. So altogether, top 3, F1, Silverstone. What do we think?
I think Indrek has always got a good chance. Dan, he's been ill recently, so he might not race, but if he does race, definitely going to be up there. Adam, again, could be there.
I think Adam's going to be here. I think he's on holiday.
Oh, yeah, good point.
I think Andrew, maybe. Andrew could come back and do something special, I think.
I think we'd like to see that, actually. Been a bit of a driver in the dumps recently. You know, quite unfortunate with...
Yeah, he hasn't actually finished the race, has he?
I think it'd be a popular podium if he got on there.
Tadger's had a few good
results.
results.
Would be quite strong around here, because, you know, he's currently second in the table. Do you think he'll be strong here?
Yeah.
I'd mention Eric. I think he'll finally be able to, you know, pick up a clean weekend. You know, a bit like Andrew. He's been plagued by some unlucky decisions with the weather, as well as, you know, just generally just being caught up in other incidents. So I think, granted, Silverstone will probably be wet. You know, cross fingers.
Yeah.
You know, I like bearing that. You know, how much make any wet to dry or dry to wet decision. So I think Eric would be a strong bet for a top 4, if not a podium.
Yeah.
Fair enough. GP2?
As I said earlier, I'm really hoping for a top 5. I mean, this is the first and probably only race this season that I'm going to have a whole week to prepare for. So I'm hoping that I can show my actual outright pace. So top 5 I'll be happy with. Obviously, Oli's going to win.
I don't know. I've already mentioned it. You know, I like the circuit. I feel I'm pretty quick here compared to other circuits. But at the end of the day, it's a bit like Monza. You know, there's a lot of long straights. You can get in the toe of somebody. You know, you can pretty much pull them around the circuit. So lots of close racing. I hope I win. I like to see Andrew on the podium. You know, recently, some of you guys know, Race Department took on PS3 GL, another league, and he drove his heart out. You know, a video of him racing, and you know, he really, you know, just gave it everything, and I would love to see that from him in Silverstone. And another driver I like to pick out for the podium would be maybe Jay. I don't know.
Yeah, he's been very consistent, like on the podium. I think he's had one race where he wasn't.
Bring up on, you know, he's picked up 3 podiums so far, and I think he's a kind of a Silverstone specialist personally. I've seen him race there, and whether you know, I guess we're all British, you know, but I think that you know he goes particularly well at his home track. I'd love to see you, Jonathan, get a top 5. Obviously, you'll be filling in for for my teammate Thomas Helmer, good points for Mercedes, you can get top 5.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, I'm thinking maybe mid-table. I mean, at Silverstone last year, I mean, going off last year for me as well, it's just, I love the track, it's just that I just can't hook it together, and it's just, I just don't know what it is, really.
Pad, it's always the pad.
It probably is the pad. I mean, I just want some points, really, at the end of the day. Just a few points, I can get to Hockenheim, and I can make those points back up and take the fight back for 4th place to Jay. In theory, for this race, I'm sort of conceding, you know, the fight to Jay just for this race, really. That sounds a bit downbeat, but that's true.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with a top 10, personally. I just, you know, but I've always wanted to kind of like, my aim is to beat my highest finish that I've done. So anywhere kind of 6 to 8, really, I'm happy with. I'm quite happy with just getting 1 or 2 points, just sort of happily ticking along. Even if I have a bad start in the race or I make a mistake, I'll stick with it because, you know, there's a way to go. It'll be 20-something laps. People can make mistakes. You never know. They might suddenly be ahead of you and then smash off a wing and have to go in the pits. Next thing you know, you've moved up a place. So I'll be happy with a 7th and 8th, something like that, around there. 9th, I'm not too fussed.
Just curious. I mean, I think probably most of us here will probably agree with here that we would like you, Paul, to get at least maybe a podium or a 4th place sometime at least this season. I mean, do you think which track can you really see yourself achieving that?
No.
Nice and simple.
No, honestly, I can't. I think when I first got F1 2020, I was definitely quick on F1 2011. There's no doubt about it. And when I first got 2012, I'm not normally a throw your toys out of pram kind of guy. I normally stick to something. And I was just getting so frustrated with it. And then played a mate online and I just realised how much quicker he was than me, which then, you know, depressed me considerably. And I thought, well, I've got a game here. It's one of the reasons why I joined the league, is I've got a game here, I'm not using it. So it gives me a reason to get better and get faster. And I will. I am one of these people that, you know, if I go go-karting, I'm one of the faster kind of riders, you know, out of the groups that always go. I'm not the fastest, but I'm normally one of the consistent ones and normally finishing like top 3. So I'm hoping the same will happen with this at some point. I'll get there. But I'm still new to this. I'm still new to the guys. I don't really know people's strengths and weaknesses. The only one that really stands out for me is Oli, you know, because he's just consistently quick, stupidly fast. It makes you think he's got an afterburn on the back. But you know, it would be nice to get there. I mean, I'm one of these people. If I'm near something, the heart starts to go, and I can feel the adrenaline going. Like, yeah, I'm doing well, and then that'll make me lose concentration. I need to keep that in check somehow.
That's exactly the same with me.
Same here. Yeah. Canada last season hit the back of Darren because I was fighting for 2nd place, and I fucked it up.
You sort of go a little bit overzealous, don't you? You sort of get carried away, and I think that's one of my faults. You know, it's not that I'm not good, it's that I need to rein myself back a little bit. And I'm sure I will make mistakes like that in Silverstone, and through the races throughout the season, I will. I just got to try and learn from it.
But I think the thing is, I mean, when you first get that first really high scoring win, you don't make those mistakes as much because you know you can do it in your mind.
Right, yeah. I suppose you.
The sense of confidence in your driving, like for example, when you win your first race, you know, all of a sudden it inspires you to think, right, you know, I can do this. I will try even harder this time to do even better. And it's like, you know, in like a race, like a wheel-to-wheel situation, you might not just think, right, he's going to pass me anyway here. He's always going to break later than me. It's a case of, right, let's give this guy a run for his money. Let's go for it. And I reckon some of that kind of experience and probably a pretty good result in the future for you, Paul.
I mean, what track are you really good at coming up?
I am pretty. Some more with the controller I was, but Hockenheim, I always looked forward to that. That one that sort of sticks out for me, and I quite like the new US track. I know a lot of people don't like that, and I quite like that. I've only raced it a couple of times. And I was my mate who I said that I raced on, he was quicker than me. That was the only track I could beat him on. So you never know. I might get a result there. You never know.
I mean, you look at the tracks we got coming up. I mean, we're staying on this. You got Silverstone. Anything possible there with the weather. But no, Codemasters, it'll be bright sunshine and boiling hot. But then you look at it. You got Germany, as you said, but then you've got Hungary. Stuff can happen there. Spa, Monza.
Yeah. Spa and Monza are always good.
Oh, it's one of my favourites as well. I must admit, I do quite like that track.
For me personally, I think just going, I think after Spa, probably it's probably going to go downhill for me, I reckon. I don't think that I do like Abu Dhabi, oddly enough. I do like India, mainly because I'm fairly quick there. But as I said, coming into this section where of the European section where it's just going to get a bit monotonous of the Tilkodromes.
Yeah, I mean, quickly before we wrap it all up, Abu Dhabi last season, I was fighting with Platinum for the lead, which shocked quite a few people. Even got the fastest lap as well, and the heart got the better of me on that occasion, and I made a mistake. Shit happens. But anyway, let's bring this podcast to an end. It's been fantastic to have you on, Paul. Hopefully, we'll have you again soon, and we wish you the best.
Thank you.
Oli, keep on winning as usual.
I give up.
Yeah. And Jonathan, just keep sucking that chode.
I was expecting a compliment or something.
So that's goodbye for everyone, and good night, everybody. Thanks for listening, and please subscribe and keep passing these videos around. You make this all possible. Thank you.